How's it going? All right, I'm gonna see what I can potentially add on to this. I'm only gonna stream for like an hour or so. But I think the first thing that I want to do is the harvesting. I want to be able to, like, when you pick up an item, I want to store that somewhere, like, so that we know that the item was picked up. I'm not sure how we want to do resources here. Like, maybe we could have just like a thing of resources. I also wonder if we're going to need like an inventory. Like, how many different items are we going to potentially need? So I can either work on that, some type of like inventory system, where I can pick up items and it shows them in the inventory, or I could work on something else, like maybe collisions. Actually, I think collisions would be better. I'm going to try to add that in. So like, I'm going to try to add a new entity, and we're going to call it like a wall. All right. Over here, let's make a wall. Now a wall, the way I'm trying to do this is like every entity has like interfaces that it kind of implements. So I'm going to give it a collidable. What is a collider? Collider. I might do this, and we'll have like an export type hitbox is equal to okay, so if we have a collidable here, we can then say implements collidable, which I don't know why some of this stuff doesn't import sometimes. But I'll have to go ahead and just implement those, import that. I need to figure out why the manager is not working. There we go. Okay. All right, so this is an entity that we're making on the back end side of things, and when we loop over the map, it should find this wall entity, and we can rename this like a crate or a box. Maybe a box might be a better name, but right now I'm thinking like a brick wall, because it is like a zombie game. So like, you imagine you're walking through a neighborhood and someone has like a brick wall in their neighborhood or their house. That's what we could do. And we're gonna go ahead and just import this. And what else? So we set the position, we add the entity to the entities list. think that should be good. What's up, C. Bea? Hey, Tina. Welcome to the stream. Hello, hopefully you feel better. Name it nuclear collider. What's up, Aaron? Yeah, so we have a backend entity that should already be replicated to the front end now. And it's a matter of, in the front end, I'm going to have to make an entity for wall. And it's going to probably follow... Just do this. Alright, for right now, I'll use the tree, but we can replace it with like a wall texture soon. Maybe using decorators would be a better approach. I feel like there's a lot of duplicate code in all these different things. And like having a decorator that automatically provides me variables, I think it'll just make the TypeScript not as good with decorators. I'd have to look into that. I'm not sure if TypeScript works well when you put decorators in front of things. But if all of these things were just kind of like auto added, I think it would make a lot less code. But anyway, yeah, so this needs to render out a wall. In our case, I don't need this harvest distance stuff. Like, I just draw the image. That's really it. I guess I got to also draw a hitbox. I won't do that right now. All right, let's rethink this. This is kind of like annoying that every time I add an entity, I have to go through here and add like something to this. I'm kind of wondering if there's like an easier way to have that automated. Aaron, I don't know, but if you had a chance, like something that's super important we got to figure out is like when I'm switching between these different sub modules, these packages, it's like TypeScript just stops working and I have to like restart TypeScript. I don't know if I need to like set up different TS configs or delete all the TS configs that are nested in these directories and like have a top level one. Or there's something I need to like add to this to make it work. Cause it's like I have to restart TypeScript when I like modify something in a different package. And I'm too lazy to go read up on what could be a fix, so I'm gonna put to do here. To do, consider a better way to handle this, sure. All right, let's see if a wall shows up for us now. I don't know because I'm rendering a tree. So I think what we should do is like, can I just do like a small 16 by 16? There we go. Let's go to the dashboard. Let's go to public. I'll go ahead and pop this in there and I'll just call it wall. There it is. Why is this so big though? Hmm. almost like taking up the space of everything. Oh, it's 32 by 32 for some reason. Why is it 32 by 32? Let me scale it down. Okay, then you're not going to open? Like, what's going on? Oh, there's a pop-up. There we go. Okay, so we have a 32 by 32. We got to scale it down. Let's scale this image 16 by 16. Scale it. Save it. All right, there's our little wall texture. Each entity could have an onHandleUpdate class method that could be ran from within that for loop. The thing is that the entity, this is just a plain JavaScript object, right? It's just a JSON object. So it doesn't have methods on it. So I would first have to instantiate something that knows it's a certain type of entity, and then it knows how to like construct it. So like a factory. But even so, like if I had an entity factory dot create method, it's going to have some type of logic like this. And this could potentially be like an array or like a lookup table or a map. But there's still a place in the code I have to go and update every single time I add a new type of entities. And I don't know if there's a way around that unless you add like some type of build tooling to like dive through your entities. Not that big of a deal, I guess. It's just one thing to remember, right? I like making smaller component classes and compose them in the main entity classes, then make a bunch of getters and easier access. Daria, are you saying you use like extends? Or are you saying like, I guess the approach I'm doing, do you do that? Like, let's say you have a bullet. Do you like add all these implements things? Oh, it's 32 by 32 because I have a retina display. Okay, that makes sense. What tech is this project using? Typescript. Hey Cody, what's the stack for this game? I'm just using TypeScript and Node. Are you using Turbo Repo? Right now I'm not. I probably should. Honestly, I just use the simplest thing, which is just package NPM workspaces. But I think I just don't have it configured correctly. And I could probably ask Cursor to help me out. But yeah, let's just try to do a collision. I don't want to stream all day, so let's just get this going. So as a player, when I'm walking towards the box, I need to basically prevent it from moving into the box. And so let's go to the player on the back end. And, oh, this is bullet. Okay, I think, how does this work again? What's moving the player? I think that needs to be refactored. Update entities. If it's a player, yeah, I feel like this stuff should just live inside of the player. This whole thing is related to firing, so I could probably make a method called like handle back. Yeah, I could add the delta time here. Why not? Okay, so this is like going to be a common thing. This is like a physics related action, like get the current velocity and just update them. But I will have to, I could probably add some type of helper method that knows how to loop through all the entities and update this correctly. So let's do a get collidable entities. And then we're going to loop through them. And basically, the way you can do this is you can take a snapshot of their current position and then try to move them in the X direction and then try to move them in the Y direction. If they collide after you move them, you just revert them back to where they were. That's like approach I have done before. So we're going to go ahead and say like move, take snapshot of current position. Now I don't know, this might have to be cloned. I want to clone it so I don't have references that are like modifying each other. So the current position, we are going to go ahead and move. Yeah, I don't want to call this yet. We'll move in the X direction. And then we will just go ahead and say like, maybe I could do that. Is colliding. That might be easier. Just pass it this. If we are colliding, move them back, maybe. And then finally, we're going to just update their position. Oh yeah, hitbox. I could do a hitbox class. Collidable has a hitbox. Yeah, maybe this should be a class. Or honestly, I could just do a util, like just do a physics util, export function is colliding, take 2 hitboxes and do AABB testing. Is colliding, we're gonna go ahead and take in that helper function. We're gonna get the collidable, we'll say entity.getHitbox and we'll say collidable.getHitbox. Is this a step in the right direction? We don't know. Anyway, what was I doing? So like, okay, we get the hitbox. This isn't right. This needs to be the current position. So I'll say this position and then the width and the height. This thing needs a hitbox too. So this needs, the player needs to be a collidable, which means that it needs a method called get hitbox. And then player width, that's probably just 16, yeah. Handle movement, get all the collidables. Yeah, now I don't need this. Get collidable entities. Yo, I'm moving like twice as fast now. Oh, I'm moving twice as fast because I think I had the logic for moving the player. Oh, here, yeah. Yeah, this whole thing, like, just, I feel like we should just say entity.update. No matter what it is. Do they have updates on them? Updatable. But I think I actually need to get, instead of get entities, I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, this whole function needs to be refactored. Like, this whole file, I mean. I'm trying to think back to that one game that we worked on, Daria, with Voided, where, like, I could make a generic method to get all the entities by a certain type based on, like, what they implement. I just haven't gotten around to doing that, but I think if we did this, that would clean that up a little bit. Maybe. I use composition in the constructor. Daria, do you mean like in the constructor here, you'll say like with collidable this? Is that what you're talking about there? And so like as you're constructing the thing, you'll just call a bunch of methods, which will just attach on a bunch of properties to it. Okay, why is this not working? Handle movement. I'm calling it here. It should get the current velocity, get the current position, to try to update to the new position based on the current velocity. If we're colliding with something, we move back. Do the same thing with the Y. We move back. And then we set the current position like that. Maybe this isn't working. Get all the collidable entities, loop through them. Now, one thing is we don't want to do if collidable is equal to the entity. I think we should continue. Like, we don't want to check if we're colliding with ourselves. If we are colliding, okay, let's just print out some stuff here. Yeah, that's probably the issue, is that this isn't even like, but they're not safe. Okay, that's the first problem, is that is colliding is never called, which means that this is never called. Handle movement is never called. Okay, it is called. What? How could that never be called? Okay, so what is collidables then? It's empty. Okay. Loop through all the entities. Collide an entity. No, it's hit hitbox. That's why. There we go. Now I'm stuck though. How did that happen? This is why you should just use a physics engine. Don't build your own stuff. Just use Unity. I think I should just snap back to what it was. Isn't this great? So then Daria, do you just like check if certain things exist on the object, and if they do, then you like cast it to a certain type? I guess my question is, do your entities have, or your components, like position component, does it have methods on it? Or do you have like all your utility methods on something else? What would cause this to get stuck into the box? Like, I feel like this is correct, isn't it? Hmm. Well, when in doubt, ask AI. Is that not what I'm doing though? Yeah, it's probably floating point position, but I feel like I shouldn't need to do that though. gonna try something. Why can't I type previous X, previous Y? I'm just wondering if there's like a reference that's happening. Okay, I don't know. I'll try this code example. Yeah, that doesn't work either. Well, I guess I could add a debugger or console logs. All right, let's just say previous X. This is a hard one. I don't know. Let me just try one. Let me just do the X. And I collide in the X, so I should be able to... Wait, hold on. So I should be able to walk through this thing, yeah. But on the X direction, it's like I get stuck into it for some reason. Alright, I mean, it seems like this logic's fine. We are colliding. So anytime you call getHitbox, it's going to return you a brand new object. So this shouldn't be referenced by anything. I mean, I don't know. This must be floating point issues. Like, I don't know why. Like, I don't know what else it could be. Isn't previous and current the same there? Previous. Why do they both be the same? Oh, wait a second. Is colliding. Oh, I get it. I know what. This is expecting the entity. I think it might be better if this was just a hitbox. No, it needs to be an entity. Okay, I know the issues though. I have to basically set the position because this is going to be calling get position. So I need to update this, but then I need to set it back. And I need to do the same thing here. This is, I'll fix this. This is super hacky, but I think this is what we want. Let me read through this. Current position. Yeah, I'm just going to set the current position like this. Do I even need to do this? Let me go back. Sorry, I'm like, I think this will work. Yeah, it's working now, but I just wanted to like find a way if I can make this cleaner. You can just edit the entity position without cloning it in a key. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably better. So I don't need to clone it. I don't need to do. I just need to do this. Just move it in the X direction only. The Y direction should just be the same. Okay. And then we move it, and if it's colliding, we move it back. But we don't know what it was before because we have to keep track of the original X. I'm calling get position like 1,000 times. This is like terrible. Hmm. can't tell if I like this better or not. You know what? Maybe it doesn't matter, right? If it works, it works. Okay, that doesn't work anymore. Okay, screw it. I had it working. There's probably a better way to do this. My brain can't think of a better way. I just don't like it. There's something about this that it just doesn't feel right, but it works good enough, I guess. Let me just commit this. Adding collidable and letting player collide with other entities with that trait. Wait, what did I save? What I could also do is just say, hey, can you simplify this? And let's see what this gives us. Current position, it cloned it. Previous position. Does that feel cleaner? Kind of looks cleaner. Whatever. That's good. All right, what else should I work on? So I guess now, like, bullets. Should bullets be able to go... Okay, that's a bug. I need to fix it so, like, I can keep track of the last direction you're facing. Handle attack. Velocity. So if the player is not moving, this is 0, which causes the bullet to, like, just shoot off to the right, which I don't want. I would rather, like, you move in a direction and then you know that the bullet's going to shoot that way. The only way I can think about doing that is tracking the last, like, the last non-zero velocity. I might just add a facing direction here. And then whenever we... velocity. This is the thing that checks the input and changes the direction. So I think we could just do that. And then when we attack, that direction from velocity. I don't think the bullet should know about up, down, left, right. I think it should just, like... I don't know if I like that either, but hey, it might work. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I guess I was doing that because I want to make the bullet collide with certain things like the wall. Facing direction is fixed in 1 PRs. Oh, you basically fixed what I just added. Oh dang, you have 5 PRs out there? Holy moly. I should have checked before I worked on this, I'm sorry, but let's see. You got a conflict on improving retina display. Adjust to do items. Add graceful shutdown sync types node version between packages. As part of this PR sync version node package. Seems good. The next step, let's see what you did here. Yeah, that seems fine. Let me just stash. Is there anything in here that I actually need? I think I was just only working on the direction stuff. And it looks like you already have it fixed, right? So does my game still work? Ooh, broke it. Okay, let me commit this, and then I'm gonna pull that factor collision pick a bit thing cursor. All right, let's do a git pull. Are there conflicts on here? Handle attack update. I think the difference is this handle movement. Oh, did you already fix it? What's going on here? Anyway, sorry, I'll let you fix that. I think you're kind of like doing that. You fix that PR. What is the next one? Improve the tile sheet, add image manager. Oh, nice. You did the facing. Manager's image, crop options, image manager, crop. What is this doing? So this loads an image. This, you pass in an image and you can crop out a square from it. Wait, is that how that's working? Creates a canvas. Clears it. Draws the image onto the canvas. Converts it to a URL and then loads the image. Are we calling crop multiple places or is this just called once? Populate cache. Okay, so it only happens on a init. So you load the tile sheet and then you start cropping out all these areas and you cache them somewhere. Crop. Asset manager. Promise all. What is the cache though? Like when it says populate cache. Oh, asset cache, I see. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think this seems good. Let's try it out. Wait, aren't I supposed to be facing different directions now? Wait, maybe you haven't even used this. Yeah, Aaron, I guess, was this supposed to actually move the... Okay, by the way, you have a conflict on this pull request. If you could fix that, I'll get this merged in too. In the meantime, what else could I work on? Oh, I wanted to have the bullet like collide with walls. I don't think it makes sense to have a bullet go through collidables. At least certain types. Like maybe we could have a collidable that's a window. So if you wanted to be inside of a building, you could shoot out of the window as zombies are trying to crawl through it. But for right now, like, can we get the bullet to stop when it hits the rectangle? Which I think we could probably do something very similar when we're updating it. We're going to have to do something very similar to the player, where like you move it. Actually, no, the bullet's a little bit different. We just need to update the position. Wait, what is this doing? Hold on. Hit the last position. This is going to be distance between those 2 points. I don't know why there's a delta y here. Okay, so that should tell me the distance I'm traveling. If I go over a certain thing, it can remove it. Yeah, so also, if the current bullet is colliding with anything else, This would be logic where we have to add like to do. I could say add damage logic to hurt zombies or other entities. And then remove it. Why is this not working though? It doesn't have a collidable? That's why. There we go. Now this is a rudimentary way. If the bullet is going too fast, it'll actually just travel through the box because of like, we have to do some type of like ray tracing or like line intersection. So if you draw the before and after point, you draw a line, you check if the line intersects the rectangle or the box, and if it does, that's your collision. But I think as long as the collidables are large enough and your bullet's not moving too fast, it might be okay to like not worry about that. I'm using cursor. I have not tried windsurf yet. Am I looking at a cached view of the PRs? Because you said you fixed them, but I still see conflicts here. Oh, it's because I just pushed, didn't I? I'm so sorry. I'll fix this. Set direction. This. Let me just move this here. Delete that. Delete all this. I'll keep in your thing you just added. Alright, I'm fixing it. Come on. Urge it. Improve retina display. I'll just approve it. I don't even want to look at the code. I trust it. Aaron, the PRs I just merged, were they supposed to actually move the player, like, when he walks? I'm sorry, were they supposed to, like, make the player face the direction he's walking? Also, the bullet, did you fix it so, like, the last movement would shoot the bullet? Maybe I should add that back in. Oh, I didn't pull. I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's working now. Oh, here could be a to-do. We could play sounds. Play gunshot sounds on fire. Play sounds on bullet collide with non-killable entity. Set up a sound manager system. Play walk sounds when moving. And just give it a little bit more life. Use buttons on bottom right. It will scale the view, but the image will still look crisp even if it's 60. Okay. Pretty cool. Yeah, Aaron, so like, I know you added some player things. Yeah, I see you added them. You want me to add this real quick? The direction stuff? Because I'm still not seeing the player actually face the direction he's moving. Am I doing something wrong here? I don't remember seeing code for like changing it. I'm guessing on the client side, we could go into the player and then you'd render the different images based on the direction. Where do I draw the image? Here. Facing. I will say, let's try to use private methods and just getters and setters. I see you did public facing. Direction right. Oh, wait. Huh? He's facing a thing. Oh, okay. I don't know what I'm doing. Export interface facing comes from traits. Lightable. Why is this not, oh, now it's working? Oh, it has to be. Anyway, whatever. What did I do? Completely broke this thing. Revert. No, I didn't add using different assets because Asset Manager is async, so you actually need to add it to Game Client and await it in the dash before starting the game. Anyway, yeah, I think this is in good progress. I didn't want to stream for too long. I think an hour is probably good. But yeah, I think some of the next things I want to focus on is, I don't know if you want to work on that, Aaron, like the ability to have the player face the direction he's moving. That'd be nice. And then we need to add zombie NPCs. We have to have AI enemies, which we could probably pull over some of the code from the other Survive the Night game. As far as pathfinding is concerned. I kind of want to focus on like the inventory system. Like if I were to go and pick up these things, I want to be able to like manage them. I'm still debating, do we want inventory or do we want like just resources? So like you could have raw resources and have like 5 or 6 of them, and based on the resources, that's what you could use to build. But I think in terms of crafting, it'd be a lot more interesting if you have to find certain items. Like maybe a map starts off and there's only one really rare item that spawns on the map, and so it kind of gives you more of an incentive to like really explore, to find those items that you can use to build higher tier bases. So I think we will need an inventory. It's just a matter of like, I want to keep it simple, so maybe just an inventory bar and just keep it simple like that. You could have like 8 or 10 slots, and then we can kind of Yeah, just keep it at that and see. Let me make a to-do for that too. I might focus on that because I did that in a previous game that I did on the channel a while back. So I kind of have a good idea of how to do it. But I think it's kind of critical for the game to work if we want to build a base building game. For right now, I wanted the firing direction just to be like the direction that you're moving. It might be kind of dumb, but yeah, I think playing with one hand might be pretty cool. It might turn out to be terrible, but I think just start with that. Like, we'll just fire based on direction. I think one thing that might be good, this arrow, we want to keep it on the screen at all times, but instead of an arrow, it could be a crosshair. And so the crosshair could just float kind of in front of the player, wherever the direction is. Just so that you know that, like, when you fire, it's going to go in that direction. But I think the emphasis of this game is not necessarily like the action shooter. I want more of like resource collection, gathering, base building. Is kind of the emphasis, if that's cool. But yeah. Can I explain the problem with TypeScript? The problem with TypeScript I'm having is like if I were to go in the game client, actually sometimes it's hard to explain. Basically, there's like, usually in VS Code or whatever, like I'll put a method, like distance. Distance is a function. Okay, maybe not distance. Can I replicate this? Game server. Let's see. If I just pretend to make a trait called distanceable, whatever that is. If I go into game client and go to like player and say comma distanceable, sometimes it doesn't auto import. That time it worked fine, so I don't know. Maybe it's just like TypeScript gets confused. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap up the stream. I think we made a little bit of good progress. We have collisions now. We have bullets that collide with boxes. And then Aaron merged a bunch of stuff related to distance. Or sorry, like the direction. So it's coming along. I know it looks like a little prototype because it is still a prototype, but I think with enough features, it'll start getting more fleshed out. Yeah, I'm not like super tied to like not using the mouse. If you want to add in the ability to aim with the mouse, I'm okay with that. You could add that in and we'll just see how it plays. It's hard to gauge how the gameplay is. Like, yeah, diagonal, I agree. The diagonal is like kind of dumb. It doesn't make sense because it's like, yeah, just go, yeah, just add it in if you want. Anyway, I'll be on Discord and I'll try to stream a little bit more. I want to get more into streaming and less into like making videos all the time. I just think streaming is a lot less stressful. I don't have to think about much. I just have to sit here and hack at stuff. But yeah, have a good day. Happy coding. Thanks for joining along and thanks for the work, Aaron. I appreciate it. I think